Hi everyone, it's Dawn coming to you live from Sedona, Arizona. And today is, we're getting very close to the new moon of the beginning of March 2019. And I felt called to do a video for you, and I reflected on what would make the most sense. And really what I want to do, this is a little bit of an astrological report. Now, with that being said, I'm going to do my best to have this be a non-geek speak live video where I'm just sharing with you more the concepts without getting into astro geek speak, which is fun to do, but not necessarily always clear for people who aren't into astrology. So what I want to do is really look at the bigger movements here of what's going on in order to support you really in what I would say is leveraging the best energies. It's kind of like riding a wave. You know, surfers, I'm not a surfer, but from what I understand, you know, surfers go out there in the water and they don't just stand up on the board and surf, right? They have to ride the wave. They have to find the right wave and find the timing of when to stand up on the board with regard to that wave. And any of you surfers out there, you could certainly correct me if I'm wrong or add to that, because I don't know when that right timing is. I do know, however, when the right timing is to surf certain energetic frequencies which are at play and influencing us in our solar system. And so that's the piece that I want to talk about now. So on Wednesday the 6th, in fact, at 8:03 a.m. Pacific and 9:03 a.m. here in Sedona, 8, 9, 10. So it'd be 11:03 a.m. East Coast, USA, 4:03 p.m. UK time. We will have a new moon in Pisces. So a new moon means that the moon and the sun are exactly conjunct. And not only will the moon and the sun be conjunct in Pisces, it will also be conjunct the planet Neptune, as well as the asteroid goddess Vesta, who is the archetype of the priestess, or an archetype of the priestess. So we have this powerful conjunction of these four heavenly bodies. And when we have that kind of conjunction, well, a new moon is always the indicator of a new cycle. So it's when the moon is it's at its black phase, so you can't see it at all in the sky, and then it begins to grow. It begins to wax or grow into the full moon, and then it will wane back to the new moon. So new moons are beginnings, and yet they are in the sign of Pisces. And Pisces, astrologically, is the sign of endings. It's the undoing at the end of a cycle. When we dissolve and go back to source, or we dissolve the elements of whatever that cycle was in order to begin anew. And on many levels beyond this little configuration I just shared with you, this new moon really is a signature of endings and beginnings. So before I talk more about the astrological elements regarding that, I want to invite you to take a moment here. First, I want to say hi to someone. Hey, Alla! Long time no see, girl. Hope you're well. Okay, so let's talk about endings and beginnings for a moment. And I want to invite you to just take a breath and drop in, if you can. You could close your eyes if you're somewhere where you can close your eyes. If you can't, obviously keep your eyes open. And just reflect for a moment on the events and circumstances of your life right now, over the past year, over the past 7-year cycle. And consider what may be nearing its end. What might you be not wanting to look at that needs to end? What perhaps are you dragging your feet about completing, saying goodbye to, having closure with? Just let those bubble up to the surface. You may not, it may surprise you, or it may be like, oh, I can't believe I'm watching this video and she's telling me this. I don't want to look at this. Or it could be like, wow, I am so ready to let that thing go. I'm so ready to be complete with that project. I'm so ready to end that relationship. I'm so ready to just notice what's there. This is the time. This is the time for you to begin to really say, this is the ending, that a new beginning may unfold. You know, there's that saying, when one door closes, another opens. And those of us who have been on a deep spiritual path where sometimes we've had to surrender much against our egoic will in fear, not knowing what would come next, we know that eventually another door opens. And so it is really a time to allow yourself to end what needs to be ended. Not with brutality, not with cruelty, not with a truncation of your personal experience or someone else's. There's still the need to be accountable, to be present, to be compassionate, to be in loving kindness and in engagement, in the sense of, you know, being present with a closure, with a conscious ending, so to speak, whatever that is, whether that it's a relationship, a career, a job, a business, a project that you know finally you're never going to complete. Whatever it is, completion, now is the time for that completion, so that this new moon, this waxing moon or growing moon cycle, where we go from the new moon to the full moon, really is a time for you to take action, to move forward, or to, maybe it's not take action, is not actually the word or the phrase. It is to begin something new. So it could be the nurturing of a new seed of something. It could be the initial steps towards something. It could be the birthing of something you've been nurturing for a long time. So endings and beginnings. I want to deeply invite anyone who watches this to reflect on that. And for those of you who watch it, if you know someone who is somehow, you feel intuitively or very obviously that this is going to be of help to them, please share this video so that people feel like they're not alone. Like, if you're going through something, there's a good chance that energetically there's a reason for it, and you're not going crazy. You're just really in that journey that we're all on now of awakening. And in that awakening process, as our vibrational frequency is being called to increase in order to pace with Mother Earth's increasing frequency, we must let go of that which no longer aligns with love, that which no longer serves our path. And we can do that willingly in a state of loving surrender and compassion and forgiveness for ourselves, or we can do it with resistance and suffer. And so I opt for plan A. I don't know about you. I've definitely done plan B. So I want to invite you all, again, really reflect on what's ending in my life right now, and how can I allow that to end with more grace and ease? Simultaneously, what is beginning? What is fresh and new and on the horizon? And what plans might I need to be putting in place? What things might I need to be energetically or emotionally activating in order to nurture that? So that's the big theme of this new moon. Now, with that, there's a couple other pieces I want to share with you, which I feel are important on the global scale. How it affects you personally will depend on where this shows up in your personal chart. And as an astrologer, I do offer astrological full readings and transits. So if that's something you're interested in, if you're going through something deep right now, please reach out to me. We'll figure out a time to make that work. Okay, so other big things going on right now. On the new moon, the planet Uranus, the great disruptor, the great illuminator, the great waker-upper, is shifting permanently, well, for the next 6-ish years, I believe, into the sign of Taurus. What does that mean? Well, typically when Uranus, this planet of electrical energy, eruptive change, rebellion, transformation, shifts signs, something big happens. So let me illustrate. When it shifted into Aries, was on the very day it shifted into Aries, people, is when the Fukushima meltdown happened. So big stuff can happen. So let's look at these energetic signatures a little bit. I already said, Uranian energy is the energy of sudden illumination. It's, the cartoons that have the picture of when the light bulb over their head, when they have that bing, they wake up. That's Uranian energy. It's not always happy. Sometimes it's difficult. Uranus is also the rebel. So the control system that keeps us enslaved in jobs that we don't love and don't like, that we don't get to actualize our potential. War and the domination of corporations over the people, all of that stuff, that's exactly the stuff that Uranus is rebelling against. Uranus is the rebel freedom cry. Uranus moving into Taurus. Let's look at that. Now, Taurus is the symbol of the Earth Mother. Taurus is the Earth herself, the body of Mother Gaia. Taurus is also about money and financial systems. Taurus is also about food and food systems and eating and pleasures, the physical, tangible, material items of our world. So there are a number of ways that this Uranus in Taurus energy can play out. One is related to extreme earth changes, hurricanes, earthquakes, volcanoes, raging fires, floods. Not so much floods, although the mudslides that would come because of so much rain, these are also related to this Uranus in Taurus energy. So just notice what happens on the bigger scale of things, particularly on Wednesday the 6th, but in the days following that, in terms of possible earth shifts and changes, tectonic plate movement, polar shifts, that kind of thing. Hey, Pamela. Hi, I hope you're doing well. Long time. Okay, so we're talking about Uranus in Taurus and the shift that's going to happen on the 6th, which is also the new moon. Endings and beginnings. Well, extreme earth changes certainly trigger endings and beginnings for people on a mass scale. So we see again this signature. Another way we might see shifts in the years ahead with Uranus moving into Taurus now is agriculture and food production. You know, it's been said that if we could actually see what happens to the animals, the the animals and the plants that we consume, unless we're consuming organic, humanely harvested, grass-fed animals and organic vegetables, if we could see the treatment of the food we eat, we would stop eating it. Certainly with the animals. It's why I haven't eaten chicken in years. I don't eat meat. Every once in a while, if I can find an organic, grass-fed, humanely harvested beef, which in Sedona I might sometimes crave like a protein, but for the most part, I'm a vegetarian, organic vegetarian. The amount of land erosion that happens from animal agriculture and cattle in particular is outrageous. The destruction of the land because of that. I can go on and on. There are movies, right? You can watch, there's many movies about this. These systems have to change because they are unsustainable and they are cruel. And whether it's animals, the cruelty of animals and the unsustainability of it, or the pure unsustainability of GMO foods, Monsanto seeds that you have to keep buying them and farmers are starving and dying in parts of the planet, all of this needs to change. And that Uranian energy, which by the way is very strong in me and many of us who are what would you call indigo kids, the star kids who are coming in now, have been coming in. We are full of that energy. We're like these old sustainable systems that are cruel and unsustainable. They're cruel to the earth. They're cruel to people. They're cruel to animals. They got to stop. So with this Uranus and Taurus, I think we're going to see some changes. Another thing to look at is the changing in the monetary systems. Because Taurus is about money as well. It's about security and the acquisition of material stability and security, which for thousands of years or however long has been involved, been intricately tied with this monetary system, which is tinkered with to the extreme. Where is all the money? Where is it? That's a conversation for another time. Banking needs to change, and we are going to see changes. We know that the cryptocurrency and the what do they call it? The blockchain technology is absolutely going to change the playing field when it comes to this corrupt and unfair and weird, complicated banking system, where certainly in the United States, we have this thing called the Federal Reserve, which is neither federal nor has it any reserves. It's a fake money system, which serves only a very few at the top. So Uranus and Taurus, we're going to see changes there, people. We are going to see, and that can trigger fear, or that can trigger the hope for a more equitable solution. And not my area of expertise, but you can do your research. There's plenty of information out there if you want to know more about that. Freeing up land so that nature can be free is another signature we might see. And again, changing animal consumption and the way we treat animals and the whole agricultural system will free up land. Housing and property is another area that we may see change and hopefully be more equitable, although there'll be resistance against that, against any of these. But again, Uranus says, this is wrong, this is unfair, what's going to be better for the people? We have to break down the old systems that no longer serve in order to let something new come in. And Taurus says, I want my security, I want my stability, I want my beautiful things, I want my pretty house, I want my pretty food, I want my pretty, fill in the blank. And so we're going to see some changes in the realm, potentially, of housing over the next bunch of years. Blending of technology and biology. So technology is the realm of Uranus, biology is the realm of Taurus. For good or ill, depends on the level of our consciousness as humans. Do we want a cyborg world? I don't. I'm really into, organic and getting back to nature and listening to her and putting my belly on Mother Gaia and having her be one of my guides and teachers. Not becoming a cyborg where I'm half machine. I think that's actually an invitation to insanity. But let us not deny the benefits of technology, how it has connected us as a planetary people of awakening, that we may share resources, that small business owners and fair business exchange people have a fair shake to offer their goods and services to people who want to invest in small business owners. That's just one simple little thing, again, keeping in this sort of Taurus-Uranus signature. How about things like healing with sound frequency, or clothes that reflect our frequency, or technology that helps us rejuvenate and extend our life without introducing foreign objects that can control us, like chips into our bodies. So these are the pieces for us to look at in the years ahead in terms of the bigger movement of Uranus moving into Taurus. Now, there was one other thing. Let me see. I know this is getting a little bit long, but those of you who are interested in the bigger changes ahead will find this interesting. We also have Mercury retrograde going on the 5th, so tomorrow. So no need to panic. If you were born with Mercury retrograde, you're good. This is the time when things tend to flow more smoothly for you. Just, if you have to sign any contracts, make any agreements, just double check. Just, it's that old saying in carpentry. My son is a carpenter, and it's that old saying, measure twice, cut once. Apply that concept to anything you do during Mercury retrograde. You may also notice that you want to revisit. Mercury retrograde invites us into the revisit, remember, reconsider, reevaluate, review. Those types of things will serve you during Mercury retrograde. Mercury retrograde can't ruin your life. But if you skim over the details during a Mercury retrograde period, you're more likely to find missed details, let's just say, that could come and give you a little bite in the backside down the road. So just to give a little more attention to detail during these times. Then the other piece I wanted to say was all of this. I mean, I could go on and on. All of this really is us preparing for a very big shift astrologically, energetically on the planet during the year 2020. We are moving toward what is called by astrologers the astrology of 2020, which has some big events that are related to outer planet relationships and conjunctions, which I'm not going to go into here. But the long and the short of it, my dear sisters and brother friends out there in Facebook land and YouTube land, when this gets shared on YouTube, is that we are being called to awaken, to remember who we truly are as eternal divine beings, having an experience here in the physical. We are being called to remember that this is but one act in a play of eternity, and it is up to us whether we want that act to be one of misery and suffering or joy and pleasure. Collectively, we are co-creating this. And so all of the negativity out there, including control systems, abuse of our land and waters, cruelty to animals, the domination of the few by the many, all of these things in some way we are co-creating by activating our fear frequencies and our belief in those systems. As we begin to vision a new way of being on the planet, one that is more circular and spiral in nature rather than hierarchical or pyramidal, we begin to upload new frequency, new ideas, new vision to the collective and make it available for all. It is extremely important for us at this time, those of us who are awakening and recognizing our contribution to the collective, that we do our deep inner work, that we forgive. We forgive ourselves for our errors, and we forgive those who've trespassed against us. Not from a looking down our nose that we are better than them, but the recognition that they are only mirroring something within ourselves. When we do that work, when we really take 100% ownership for our lives, when we have the courage to face our demons with love and compassion and forgiveness for ourselves, when we reach out to others who are awakening their own love and compassion and lift as we rise, when we upload new vision to the collective, we really have the power to change everything. And that really is what we are about. This world of war and suffering and misery and punishment and hate and judgment and separation, it is time for us to make a shift now. This time is coming to an end. We are coming to the end of an age, dear family. We are moving into the age of Aquarius, and the old frequencies of fear and hate and the blocks to love cannot come with us. So we must go deep within. We must have courage in these times. We must have great compassion for ourselves and for others, recognizing that we have all been really indoctrinated into a system of separation and fear and hate and other things, and judgment, and really just let it go. It's a time of of endings and new beginnings, as I said at the beginning of this video. Hey, Chris, welcome. Good to see you here. It is a time of endings and beginnings. So again, as I began this long video, boy, I'm 23 minutes in now. I want to invite you to, again, take a breath and tune in and ask yourself, what needs to end in my life? Is it a relationship? Is it a job? Is it a career? Is it an attitude? Is it an old resentment that just needs to be forgiven? Is it a fear? Is it a change that I've just not been willing to make? What needs to be let go of? What needs to end now? And with courage and love and self-compassion and reaching out to other allies who can support you, let it end so that a new door can open. Because the beginning that's possible for you individually and us as a collective is extraordinary. But we have to let the old pass, the old paradigms, the old belief systems, the old structures, all of that. And it's not something we do by will alone. We need allies, we need support, we need guidance, we need teachings. I don't come to you by pure divine download, although I do get that, and I'm thankful for it. I have spiritual teachers, and I work very, very dedicatedly in that realm. And I've gone through many over the years, so happy to talk about that more in another video if you'd like. Okay, so this is long now. It's been long-winded. So here's my ask from you. If you know anyone who you feel would gain value, or if you just feel that this is a valuable message, please share it on your page, or please share it privately if you want to do that. If you would like me to address specific issues that I touched on here, if you want me to tease them out, please let me know. either here or in a private message. Now, I do my best to answer those. Sometimes they get lost in the shuffle, but I'm not traveling or going anywhere for a while now, as far as I know, so shouldn't be a problem. I should be able to keep up with those. So just reach out to me, or preferably even create an engaged thread here so that other people can pipe in, and so I can understand what your needs are, so that I'm speaking into the themes that are relevant for you. Okay, with that, I really am going to wrap up now. We're at 25 and a half minutes, sending you much love and bright blessings and dear, dear support and compassion for whatever it is you might be walking through right now in your life. Okay, mwah. Until soon, thanks for being here.